All right, what's up, everyone? Morey here from the Performance Lab of California, and we're going to do another breakdown here today on Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is probably the best prospect, out there for sure, and one of the best prospects that we've seen in a long time in terms of guys that are going to go to the NFL. I mean, it's almost like can't miss with this guy. I mean, there's just so much that he could do super well. We did a video about him doing of him doing a power clean not too long ago, and so I thought today we would just go ahead and go into him doing his 40-yard dash, just to kind of go into what his mechanics are here. So we'll just go ahead and hop right into the breakdown. So what really makes him so unique is his ability to really utilize the core. And when he gets going here, and I guess there's two parts of it. The other part is that he has what's called like a deeper hip socket. So his femur, the bone here, sits a little bit further back in his socket, which then makes it so he can get a little bit more. He can build up a little bit more strength. He has a little more time to build up strength, or he's in a better position to, I guess, create power out of hip extension. I guess power is the better way to put it. And the reason because that is where the femur sits, just gives you a little bit more ability to access the muscles that are in the hips a little bit more effectively. So, and again, it's just that femur sitting further back, and you can really see that here because his hip sitting so far back. Now that he has a little bit more space to drive that knee up, and then he also has a little bit more ability to activate his glutes and his hamstrings for a little bit longer period of time, which helps him really in that acceleration process, especially when you sync that up with somebody that has a very strong lower back. And so for each one of these steps, notice how his spine stays pretty well aligned. You can see how everything is there, but that doesn't put any strain onto his legs. His legs still have a lot of range of motion. Again, that's just because of that hip socket and where it's sitting. So because his spine is also very strong, his core is really strong, and as he gets going here, you can really see that he has such a huge kind of like his lumbar erectors, the muscles in that low part of his back, are just very active, very strong, which help him in controlling the pelvis. And then with that, again, with that hip being in the position that it's in, then it makes it so then he has more overall range of motion to create power, to create force, if you have the muscle to go along with that. So that's what makes him very unique, is that he has just a really good set of muscle that really helps him out, and especially that kind of that core area, hip area. So notice that. I wish we could see, like, so right in here you could see, I mean, even in how he's running right there, he's going through a good amount of range in each one of his legs. But even as he's doing that, you don't really see his back going into very much extension. It's all pretty locked in there. His core is so strong, it's so locked in. That's what makes it so he can generate as much power he does, and why he's so good at those Olympic lifts. Right, and he does a good job with his breathing as well. You can tell he's exhaling there. This one, not as good of a start as in the first one. He didn't do as good in this one, but still, I mean, 4.42, 4.41, basically the same. The reason I was just fast forwarding through that is because I want to see the front. So as he goes through the front again, same type of thing. Now notice how he did that there, though. Look at how he pushes off. So starting on the front leg, or starting pretty even, and then as he goes, he's shifting his weight from kind of a little bit more on this side to generating a little bit more force onto the left leg, the back leg, and then drives hard through. And so it's a big shift from weight on the middle side to weight onto the leg that's back, to then weight onto the leg that is pushing off, right? And then from there does a good job of getting right back with this foot over to the side. So you can see how much his weight is all shifted over to the side there. See that? How he has so much weight distributed over to like the left side, and how that whole angle's all shifted. And then from there, it almost looks like he's going to be moving towards his right, our left, but then he's able to then do a good job of bringing that right leg through pretty straight, to make it so he actually doesn't lose very much space from one side to the other, right? So he does a good job being able to run straight. Each one of his steps are pretty straight, even though his hips are shifting so much to the side as he gets into that beginning phase, and does a good job of transitioning into getting up. So he has great acceleration, especially for as big as he is. then once he gets going, it's really a lot of the same type of things, right? It's really quite amazing how well he's able to kind of push off, and how when he pushes off, his legs are almost his hips and his feet, as you can see how his feet are so far inside of his hips, but then when he pushes off in a way to make it so then he has a little bit more range to drive that foot back behind his leg, and then from there drive it straight through. And you can see even more on the left side. Notice how that left leg, he lands with that left leg so far inside, which makes it so he's creating a lot of external rotation in that leg, and then from there he pushes off, right, and then he drives right back through. But there's extra movement in there, so he does the same thing here where he's landing. He's having to decelerate that movement, but then when he pushes off, and it has a lot to do with how like wide his hips are, and how again that hip sits in the socket, where he could then have so much of a transition in his hips from one side to the other, and have so much control as he's doing it. So essentially it does a phenomenal job of being able to almost step and cross his feet over, which typically is inefficient movement, right? We usually talk about how when you don't really want to be crossing over, but for him, he uses that crossover to really be able to access his like quads and the outside part of his hips, which are his big strength, and he uses that kind of power production to push off. Now, I do still think that he's going to end up having a little bit more risk here, and if he's going really fast and somebody kind of goes for the ankles, he's going to have a little bit more of an exposure to having ankle stuff, and you can even see the ankles are a little bit kind of underdeveloped, underworked in comparison to knees and calves and things like that are all really, really strong. But ankles, because of how he moves like that, that's going to be a little bit more at risk. You might end up also having some risk for like plantar fasciitis and things like that in the feet. But that's stuff that you can obviously trade for injury prevention. But yeah, I think that it's just in terms of how he develops force and creates force, is such a rare thing where he's going and he's able to start here and push so much to the outside there, and he's really creating a lot of internal rotation. See how much his foot's internally rotating there. So he's using glute, he's using hamstrings. Excellent way to control the body and generate power there. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things that show that he's going to be a very, very explosive, very, very hard guy to stop in the NFL, and I can't wait to see him play. So as always, guys, thanks for watching these videos. I hope you guys learned a lot. I think big thing with Saquon is understanding the core and the pelvis and kind of that deep pelvis socket, as well as understanding kind of that your foot landing and how you should be transitioning within your feet in order to maximize your performance. All right. Hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, let us know. Morey at yourperformancelab.com. Also, check out our ebook. A lot of great information there about how you can make yourself faster. And then we also have a online speed program. Great information about what you can do to maximize your overall running form, as well as get personalized exercises to make it so you can get really honed in, really focused in on what you could do to really maximize your speed. Is the whole program. Again, we do breakdowns just like this, and then we also create a full exercise program for you to do over 12 weeks. Huge results. Everybody's part of it loves it. Would really recommend you guys looking into it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon.